Hey everybody, we are live on this Friday. I wanted to show you a watercolor I did the other day when it was like really warm outside of our front porch. It was on the front porch, and I think it was about 3 or 4 in the afternoon or so. Super warm. The sun felt so good on my back as I was painting and drawing this. But this is of our front porch with our bonsai-like trees. I just loved the shadows that were happening, and then the dramatic lighting and stuff that were happening too. So just thought I'd share that with you. The little watercolor I did. And I'm actually gonna do, because I had so much fun with that, I wanted to do you forget the stuff you did when you look back through your sketchbook. Okay. I wanted to do maybe I'm on a koi fish kick now because we actually got our koi fish pond to work again. So we've been feeding koi fish. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to do a koi fish picture, a little bit mixed media though. So using watercolors mostly, but then those koi fish are so stinking bright that I thought it would be kind of fun to incorporate a little bit of a neon orange acrylic paint to this and see how that goes. But yeah, we'll kind of go at it here. I have a bunch of pictures of my koi fish that I've been taking over the last week, and so I want to look at those real quick and kind of get a feel for composition or whatnot. I think I took pictures, right? Yeah, I took a lot of video too because I was very excited about these fish. And, they're in a pond, and pond water is pretty scummy and kind of dark and gross and stuff. So that's what's going to really make the fish pop, is if I work on the background being dark enough. But there's also reflections. So let's see. I'm going to, just looking at these, just sketch out a few basic layout for like some of these fish here. They're so pretty. Inspired by the colors they have, and we bought food to feed them with, which has been super fun because they come to the surface for food, and there's little ones about this big, and then there's like some that are like this, 1 or 2 that are about this big, and the little ones can't get their little mouths around the food, little pieces of food. So we had to like break some up so they could like eat. There's often, they kind of tend to group up together here. Some of them can be a little bit deeper. I don't want to go too precise with this one. Last week's koi fish that I did, even though I liked how they turned out, it wasn't quite what I was envisioning because I got a little too precise with it. I'm going to come in here and put some ripples. Just to kind of hint at some movement, and then the reflection's going to be different here. These reflections can get really cool, actually. Okay. So this is my sketch so far. It's really hard to tell what's happening, but as long as I know, we're good, right? So I think trying to decide what the best strategy here is for how to start this, because the reflection of the sky in the water is fairly light, and so I want to kind of give myself a lighter sort of blue, green, brown kind of a color. It's really hard to tell exactly what's happening, but as long as I have enough water in it, I should be able to get it light enough. Hopefully you guys are close enough here to see what I'm doing. That'll help a little bit. But should I do fish first? This is the question. I don't know. I'm going to squeeze a tiny bit of this out on, I think I just want to put it on some paper towel here. I don't want to put it on my watercolor. Oh, is that going to stay? Oh! Oops. Oh, it didn't actually get the table much at all. Okay, stay. Pick it up though, because otherwise it will probably stain the table. A nice neon spot. We'd rather not have that. Wet down paper towel so it sticks to itself here. Okay, so we got a little palette of our neon. I'm just going to try this, because again, this is an experiment. If I paint in these guys, I might even add a little bit of red to it so they're not like super crazy. If I paint in these ones that are like technically, you know, hidden in the water down below more, I have to figure out which ones I kind of assigned for that. Like this. Because the color is just so, like, it looks like this in real life, this neon paint color. It's just incredible how bright and vibrant they can be. You know, some of them aren't like perfectly orange. They've got maybe some spots or something on them. So I might kind of hint at some of them having that. Can't tell where I put fish. Here we go. There's another one here. I think that's where I put it. Yeah. Some of them can be a little bit more on the red side. So I might go in and just make sure some of these carry a little bit more weight in the red department. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I might do, while I'm doing fish, I might as well do a bunch of fish. Hopefully this isn't like, oh, it is. I'm being lazy today and not getting out a palette for this stuff because it's not much, you know. Anyway, if we dig into some yellow and mix the yellow and this orange together, more on the orange side, but a little bit warmer. We're gonna make this big guy that color. Look at that. Ooh, yes, that's what we want. Super vibrant orangey look. Very pretty. Then I kind of made this other one look similar to, so this one's got some spots of orange on them instead of being completely orange. It's really what makes it interesting is the variety of koi fish together that makes it really interesting. So you want to make sure you don't, you know, skimp out on that. Because hopefully you can tell on camera the subtle differences in orange, like how sort of peachy that is, how more orangey this is, how more red those other ones are. Like that kind of variety is what's really gonna make this work. I think I want this one over here to be spotted with orange and black. I can't tell you how much of a little kid I felt like this week when we were feeding these fish, because I was just so, I think moving into this house, I wasn't allowing myself to get excited about it because I was, you know, we weren't super thrilled about the whole pond idea at first because it just requires so much maintenance and you have to know how it works, and we didn't know how it worked and all this stuff. And so I was thinking that we'd have to, you know, get rid of it. And I was fine with that. I was like, yeah, please, let's just not have something like that to deal with. But as it came down to it and we, you know, started to look into the pond more and sit out there and enjoy the sound that it made and all these things, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to love this. Which can be dangerous because then we had plumbers over and they ruined the line, like I said last week, cut some electrical wire that then it was turned off for a while because of that. But thankfully, we got it back on and working. And then we're just like, we better buy fish food because it's getting warmer and they'd like to eat when it's warmer. And that's when I lost it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing. Okay. I kind of need them to dry before I do the background, but I think I'm happy with that so far. I might just, for kicks while that's drying, start another composition up here. I didn't like take tons of pictures, so oh, I do have a few more. They're not great, but they're there. There's like 20 plus fish or so in our pond. It's just like way more than we thought there were. When you start feeding them, you know, they come to the surface. So it was like, whoa, they're still coming. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Well, again, you get ones that are deeper in the water to remind myself that they're not all just like, you know, on the top surface here. So I want to make sure I'm kind of adding in some other fish. Okay. Now let's do a little bit of dark red orange together. Do some of these guys that are farther down. They can still be pretty vibrant though, so I don't want to, you know, get rid of that too much here. Oh, it's so pretty. The bright orange, for some reason, I love neon colors these days. I use a lot of the neon acrylic paints. Just like the way they look. Brush is kind of separating a little bit here. Maybe this one on top here is a little bit more brighter orange. Maybe with some yellow. Can't be afraid to bring in a little yellow. I can put black on any of these kind of later once I get the basics down. Let's see here. This guy maybe has spots. And maybe this other one is really, really orange. Maybe this one's another spotted one back in here. Kind of want this guy to have a little bit more brightness on the head. Okay. I think the black really makes it when I go in with a little black to some of these ones. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, you can like see that looks like a fish. Koi fish, because that's kind of an iconic. Oops, too much black. There actually is sort of a yellowy one in there, so that yellow orange one is perfect. Okay, so there's my two little koi fish ponds. Okay, now this should be dry enough down here. Actually, I need a slightly bigger brush. I need a round brush, possibly. And that color I was mixing earlier before I decided to do fish first is kind of the color I want again. I'm going to give this a try. Again, I don't really know what I'm going for exactly. It's just that I've got these reference pictures and we want to create the reflection of the sky first. And it's, fairly light. And so this color, even though it's a dark color, I put enough water in it, we should be able to kind of come down in here and put that in without too much trouble. The trick, though, is putting it over fish. Oh no, I hope I don't run out of paint. Maybe go a little bit darker as it gets to the edges here. We want this to all be filled in. Working fast. That's a trick with watercolors. You sometimes have to work a little faster than you'd like. Okay. Let's see. Is there any other little reflections of things in here? It looks like it laid over that other paint okay. We'll see it better when we do the darker colors. Get some interesting things over here. Some blooming happening, but if I keep it kind of liquidy, it should be fine. Let's try it up here. I didn't draw this up here yet. Excuse me. something like that. And maybe we'll put in a few ripples. It's gonna be a little tricky to know what's dark, what's light. Oop. Okay, that's good enough. Same color. Have to make a little bit more of it though, because man, you run out fast when you're working with watercolor, especially in Colorado where it's just so dry and everything dries like instantly. Especially when I'm working outside doing plein air painting, it can get pretty frustrating at times because you're trying to beat the drying paint. Okay, so and again, this is the lighter color, and I'm putting it down on white paper. But this is the color that is going to be the reflection of like the sky, which was a little bit overcast, I think, at the time. And so it's kind of gray in color. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. Now we can jump down. It's good to have two, It's good to have two paintings going at once or more than one, especially with watercolor or a medium that takes a while to dry. So there's my two compositions so far. Now we're going to go into the dark paint, which I'm super excited about because that's really going to make it. The trick is I'm going to probably go over some of the fish that are lower down with the blue. It's hard to say because I don't want to like completely ruin the bright. But yeah, they've got to have a little bit of something over them. Probably most of them do. But I'll maybe avoid them for now and we'll come back to it. But let's do a really dark green, murky kind of pond water. The color that's going to really bring out the fish color. It's okay if it looks gross. It's not blue, even though we know it's water. We can't be like, it's blue. Water's not blue. Water is transparent. It reflects things around it and you can see through it the stuff in it. So this is what we want. Look at that beautiful sappy color. Okay, so now we're going to come in and put that everywhere else. I wonder if I should switch brushes. I Probably should for some of these details sections. I'm avoiding the little light sections that I put in. And I am going to avoid fish for now, but later I'm assuming I'll want to glaze over them a little bit more. I find myself these days being less patient with like detailed work, which is just irritating, but like the feeling of, I don't like feeling like it's a burden to do detailed things, but sometimes it is. I like to kind of work fast sometimes and get the gist of it out there. That's why I love impressionistic work, because I can imply that it's looking like such and such a thing, but I don't have to make it look realistic. Now I'm switching back to the big brush because I need it to cover some more ground here. Oops. Oh no, I covered over a little highlight. Dig into some black, deepen some of this a little bit more. So hopefully you're able to see kind of the reflections come into life here. Working with a little bit of negative space to come in here and kind of Is that a fish there? Possibly. Let's put a little hint of it and go right over it. See if that preserves it at all. Probably not. Again, I want like sushi. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to eat my own fish. Don't worry. But it Definitely when I paint fish, for some reason, I want to eat fish. It sounds awful. For those animal lovers out there, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, so we got the oh, I missed a section. So it was a detailed section, though I left it for my tiny brush. Now, I will want to go over some of these fish because they're not supposed to be quite so vibrant. Because they're underwater, right? So if they were above water, they might look this bright, but they're underwater, so I need to kind of dull them down just enough. But I'm going to wait till that background stuff dries. We're going to remake this color and come up here and do the same thing. So I had lots of black, lots of this dark green, and what was the other thing? Oh, I had a little bit of red, a little bit of red and brown in there because you want that murky color. Enough water to keep it fluid. A little bit of blue. Okay, let's try this. Let's go from out here inward. I should have worked from the top one down because my hand has to avoid the fish down below. Here, my arm doesn't get into the wet paint. Reflecting a little bit of something. I guess it's the waterfall part of the pond. I kind of also sort of made it up because I want it to work for my composition here. Okay, we switch to a smaller brush because we need to get now inside here. Close to these fish. really hard to do. I can always glaze over everything with a layer of something. Oh my. This is tricky in watercolor. Excuse me, man, something in my nose. Okay, there is. So from a distance, it doesn't look too bad in terms of fish in water. But now I'm gonna come down here, and this is where let's just get a feel for, like, the color doesn't have to be the same color the glaze over them with. It could be a little bit more on the blue side. It can be very thin. But basically, I want to decide which ones for sure are like lower in space. That right there definitely is. Well, I meant lower in the water. I guess it is lower in space. Might need a little paper towel just to make sure I don't like go crazy. It definitely dulls them quite a bit, so I'm gonna be careful which ones I do it on. Like I want this big guy to be pretty vibrant, but his fins need to not be quite so bright. And I think parts of his body I need to be okay glazing over. I mean, they're still going to be very vibrant. Actually, this fish here, because he's white, the glaze over the white can look kind of peachy. It looks more like that. Do the same on these guys' fins here. Okay, that's better, right? They're still vibrant, but they're not looking like they don't belong. They look like they're in the scene. Let's try it with these guys up here. I like that I did the peachy color for the fish that has fins that are showing more. these tails, I want them to be a little bit warmer. Okay, now the question is I probably need to go in now. Let's see. Yeah, I probably want to darken the water on both a little bit more because it'll make the fish stand out even more, even though I still glazed over them to keep them, more muted. It's going to be helpful if I create a little more contrast. It's hard to do because it's hard to go around fish, but the texture's watery, so I think we're okay if I just put another layer and avoid fish again. And I can leave, maybe I leave sharper edges this time. So it looks like I'm actually keeping some of the lighter green there, but coming in and putting a little bit between things. I can use my big brush because I don't have to be, because I did the hardest work before by having to perfectly go around fish, but I think this will be perfect in terms of not having to, I don't really like that little spot there. Get rid of it. Yeah, because it can be kind of rough like that, right? It looks very water-like. I'm really liking these, though. I think it's more what I envisioned for something a little more playful and not so precise. I'll probably have to do the same thing with the light, because the light now is looking maybe too light. That I put this, obviously this will dry a little bit darker than it's showing right now. Or sorry, lighter, I mean. Lighter, it's watercolor. It's going to dry lighter. Okay, something like that. And we'll do the same thing up here. It's a little bit thicker paint, I guess, just slightly. Much better. Much better. I might even go in with a little bit of a lighter green and plop in some reflected greenery in the dark stuff so that it gives it a little bit of interest. Because there are, like, is it ivy plants that kind of are growing on the side of the pond here, so having a little hint of some green adds another color too, which is kind of nice. And that reflected light, I still want to lighten for sure, so I might do that now. Let's see, a little bit more on the blue side. A little bit more water, less dark. Yeah, oh, that's going to be way better. Because they were jumping out a little too much. And that'll still dry lighter, so. Maybe just to kind of darken a little corner here, just to make it look like there's something else reflected, like a tree or something. Okay. Oh, yay, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Yay. Taking off the tape is going to be the best part. It's always the best part. Let's go up here and do the same thing. My dark's a little wet still, but it should be fine. A similar thing, add in a little bit of green, brown. Okay, so there's, oh, this got a little bit too hard. Way too harsh on the one side. Soften that a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Trying to decide, the dark, maybe in spots could go a little darker. And I basically want to wait for the edges to dry so that then I can take the tape off with you guys, because that is the most fun. Just going to deepen some spots here that I think could use a little bit darker. Might require some glazing. Kind of mostly in this area. Okay, again, that'll dry lighter because watercolor just dries later. You have to work in layers for it to take hold, but that just helps with a little bit more depth around the fish. Again, all to bring the fish forward more. I'll do a similar thing up here, where we think it'll be the deepest. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. I think I'm liking that. So let's take the tape off because you'll be able to tell, because the blue up against these colors can really mess with you. And so I'm going to actually take this tape off really carefully. Ah. Ooh, this paper doesn't do great with being taped, but a little scary. It's like not fully watercolor paper, so that's why it's kind of not taking the tape so well. Okay, so this will be tricky because I have to go straight here. Ooh, just a little up in the end, not too bad. Okay, and there you have it, people. Finished koi fish in pond. Super fun. I love how they turned out. Super excited to have these and finish them and to have them more the look that I was going for, because I wanted them to look more abstracted, not quite so perfect realistic. So that's that. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.